Welcome to Below the Line, where we talk about working in Hollywood from the crew perspective. My name is Skid. I was assistant director in Hollywood for the better part of 8 years, and now I'm not. Today, we're talking about S.W.A.T, a reimagining of the 1975 television series with the same name. It first aired on CBS in 2017 and is now in its third season. High-level plot summary: it's a crime drama show based in LA, and it's SWAT. Hijinks ensue. At Rotten Tomatoes, the tomato meter score for the first season is 48%, and the critic consensus reads, despite a commanding, charming performance from Shemar Moore, SWAT remains a simple procedural overrun with cliches. Of course, here on Below the Line, we're not focused on what the critics thought. We're continuing our series of episodes focused on the property department. And my guest today is Erik, Kieltyka, known on set as Dr. Booty, an assistant property master on the show. Dr. Booty, welcome to Below the Line.
Hey, how you doing, Skid?
Not bad, not bad. Glad you're here. So, Dr. Booty, you've been with the show since the beginning, correct?
Episode 1, Season 1, yep.
Well, we're glad to hear about your experiences today. But before we start on the props in detail, let's discuss the show itself. As I mentioned earlier, it's based and filmed in LA.
Yep.
How many episodes are you doing a season?
22. Last year we did 23, but we also might do 23 again, depending on budgets and this and that. So, but yeah, it's we're definitely on for 22.
And how many days do you guys get to do each episode?
Oh God. Technically it's 8, but then with double ups it says 8 plus 1, 8 plus 2. So really it takes 10 days to get one episode, to get a 42-minute show down. And then sometimes it's insert units like 2 weeks later, depending on what's going on. But it's 8 normal days and then 2 to 3 days of double ups.
And so like regular network TV, you're still filming as the series is airing.
Oh, yeah. We started filming, I think, July 9th, whatever that first Monday was in July. And we didn't air until, end of September. But right now we're still filming. We'll be filming to the end of March. We're about a month before we have to pretty much put it on the air.
So, Dr. Booty, when you talked about doing double ups, how does that work on this show?
What a double up is, it's the final episode of, hypothetically, episode 2, and then the first day of episode 3 filmed on the same day, which hypothetically would be a Thursday or whenever day it is. And then there's 2 units. So prop-wise, it gets really confusing too, because we have to have 2 different chair carts. We have to have our 2 different set carts going. I'll take one unit, and the other guy, Ryan, will take the other unit. We'll have to call in a few extra people to come help, depending on how big the day is. There's been some double-up days where there's 6 people on one unit and 2 on one unit just because it's less. It's a crazy show. It's a crazy prop-wise show.
Well, that's a good segue to talking about the props and crew in general. How many full-time folks are on the props team?
This is a big show. This is 6.
There are 6 of you there all the time on this show. And then you'll add some extra people, you said, on the double-up days. What other sort of days justify?
Or big days.
Like, yeah, tell me more about what the kind of days you might bring in other folks.
On Halloween, we had a really big day. It was downtown LA. We needed 3 extra people that day. There's been other days where we've had 9 prop people working. And, each show gets bigger and better. They got to outdo the next show. So they're coming up with new things. And as long as they give us the manpower, we can do it.
Tell me more about what makes this such a difficult prop show. I have some ideas. I've watched some episodes, but from your perspective, what's the really difficult part of bringing it together?
Well, before I worked on this show, there was a couple other shows that were really busy, but this one takes the cake. One, there is 6 full-time actors. 6 people in the SWAT squad, and then we have other full-time actors that are back in the truck, back in here. But those 6 guys and 1 female, they all need to be propped. So we got to put the vests on, the belts on. We got to put the keepers on them, helmets, glasses, their long rifles, their sidearms. And we always have, you got the primary gun and the secondary gun on them pretty much at all times. They look really real, but they are fake. They're all airsoft guns that we make look real. All the accoutrements are real. If you pull them out in a cop, you will get shot. That's how real these things look. And then when we fire, we have an armorer who comes in and we have the exact same gun, just it can fire blanks. So he takes care of all that. He has all those licenses to take care of that. We do, and we just support him at that time too. So with all these extra guys, don't get me wrong, there are some easy days where it's just me and the on-set master and me, and we're kind of bored because it's two people talking like a normal show. We get really bored those days, but we take them happily because we're not running around in the dirt in the rain, giving out guns, giving out ear protection, moving chairs. So there's some easy days, but they're mostly hard.
What you brought up about just all the gear that these guys have, people don't think about it, but for all the SWAT action, when these guys are fully geared up, they have all of that stuff, and that all falls under props. The badges, the walkies, the vests, as you said, all of that is something you guys have to keep track of by person. Like each one of them has their own set for what they need to use. Is that?
Oh yeah, we have a new system this season. We started, actually it was last season. Everyone has their own bin. We have these gray totes and their names on it. So their belts, everything that they have as for props is in their bin. And then we have smaller bags in there that they're doing low-key stuff off work. They just need a couple badges in their undercover gun. We just can bring their bag out instead of the whole bin. So we have it pretty dialed in. Like we know where everyone's bin's at. Everything's labeled. That's the main thing with a prop thing. Everything's got to be labeled. On the back side of the badges, they got to be labeled. All their badges we're giving them all have the same. Hondo's badge has a number. Hicks's badge has a number. Street's badge has a number. And we always keep that stuff in order. So everything's labeled and everything's kept in the same bins, the same bags. Because without that, you start losing stuff. You don't have time to look for it. And you pull your hair out. Someone left it somewhere. It's like, no. Every day. And the thing is, too, if we have all the 16, all the team propped and ready to go, in between each take and every new setup, they want to take it off. So we have tables set up. We have this little cart we call the mini mule. It holds the guns. It holds the helmets on top. And if they want to take their vest off, we can kind of put it on there on the bottom. And because some actors just don't want to deal with it. They don't want to wear it.
Well, I imagine it's some weight, right, in between. I mean, what would you estimate?
We take the plates are not in it. The Kevlar plates aren't in it. So that's an extra 40 pounds. The magazines don't have real ammo in it. So that's an extra couple pounds there.
When you say extra pounds, you mean pounds you've actually subtracted from what a real SWAT person would be carrying.
Yeah. This is probably 90% taken away. It's 10% of what it would weigh, probably. Because we've gone to the real SWAT place and talked to them, and just like holding their stuff, it's like, oh my God, like you guys don't deserve enough credit, what they do.
Well, tell me more about that. Like when you visited the real SWAT and got to see their equipment and such.
You know what I felt really bad about? Like those guys are like risking their lives a lot, and all the accoutrements that go on the guns, the EOTechs or the lasers or the flashlights, this and that, they got to buy them themselves. The city does not provide that, which I feel is a travesty. I mean, these guys should have the best equipment, and I kind of wish I was like a really rich donor and like I could just go out and get them 500 flashlights for their guns or extra mags or whatever it takes, to get the job done. But they're on cop salaries. They're obviously paid a little bit more than normal police officers, but like that was the biggest thing. Like I couldn't believe they had to afford like all like that stuff themselves. Like, and with the new tax cuts, they can't even write it off now. It sucks for them. I feel bad for them in that. But that building, these guys are they have like different vehicles. Obviously, they don't have the Black Betty like we have, or the Rook, which is the big armored bobcat that holds them up, and which is interesting because it goes back to the whole CSI theory. Like when I worked on CSI, the best crime lab in the world was on like stage 22 instead of 23 at Universal. Because everyone has the nicest equipment, they give it to a show. So, like, we have some awesome equipment on our show that there's SWAT teams around the country that would be killing for right now. Like those armored vehicles we have, all the different pieces. Because then, you talk to the real guys, they're like, yeah, we don't have that. And it's just like a bread truck, it just says SWAT on the side of it. It's like, oh man, that sucks.
Did you get a sense from them that they do that or don't watch this show? Like I could see that not wanting to see what's like over there. Also, I could see it a little escape.
It's one of those things like half of them watch the show, and then the other half are just guys who don't like TV and they're just really good gun guys and just just go to the range every day and they get to play with guns for a living and be soldiers that aren't soldiers anymore, kind of thing. So I want to feel it's a good mixture, probably.
Well, tell me more about the gun. So as you mentioned earlier, when you actually have weapons firing, you have an armor. And so the armor is not full time. The armor comes in on the days when there's firing going to happen.
He's pretty much full time
because there's so much firing on your show.
There's so much gunfire, but he's also in our union, so he kind of helps prop a little bit here and there. He could fall in and help us be like, hey man, can you put out the chairs? Can you de-prop some of the background? Because all those background that are walking, we got to prop too. So, when there's a huge outdoor scene, it's cops and it's firemen and media and press and, you have 200 background running around. We have like 3 or 4 guys that are just dedicated to that. All right, these 3 guys are going to take care of cops, EMTs, all the background over there. And then Ryan and me and another guy will take care of the set. We'll take care of first team, which are the actors, the little background around that, and in the producer and the director way, essentially. It's good to have a game plan and be organized.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, if you're talking about 250 background, like how many of those are going to be specialist guys that in fact need their own kits, whether it's vests or helmets or that sort of thing?
That's the thing too. They'll have another tactical team. So those guys we have, because there was another guy, Mumford, and he has his own team on season 1 and half of last season, and now it's Rocker's team. So when they come in, we just give them those vests and guns, which we have in different bins and stuff. But we're ready to outfit probably 8 extra tack guys, I want to say, on our truck. If it calls for more than that, the prop master will, order up from the prop house X amount. We'll say we need 4 more from that. We'll do that. But yeah, there's extra tack guys that are running around. There's extra this. Is actually the one that just aired, that one with the Mexican family that wouldn't leave their house, episode 7, I want to say. If you notice that giant area where it was just a big circle of SWAT trucks and all those background running around, like we had to do all those guys. It was extra tack guys. There was extra background guy, the SWAT core guys, which are the guys inside, usually in the Eagle's Nest and on the stage, which is nice because they're pretty much all there at the same time and at all the same people too. So we as an old AD, like when you get background coming in and you get familiar with them, it's especially as a prop guy. I'm like, hey Jamie, how you doing? Cool. Here's your stuff. They know how to put it on. We don't have to deal with it. They know if something happens, they're like, hey man, this broke. They can come to me. It's just they know not to take the guns out. I caught a couple guys season 1. I came around the corner and they're taking selfies with the guns out, and I'm like, no, that's a huge no. I'm like, don't put on a profile pic. Come on, guys, act like an adult.
I know what you mean about the background, and then I know that when we were at West Wing, for example, we had military folks. They had to be fit into the uniforms, so you call the same folks back because and they kind of know the drill on stuff, and it helps. But I can just imagine that's doubly important on a show like this, where you have so many different props and so much that has to be assembled basically for each guy.
Yeah,
each time.
Well, that's the thing. Like it's such second nature to us. Like we just have it down. And there's a couple of tactical guys. Our tactical advisor and his buddy, the 2 tac advisors on the show, they work with these guys really well too. They're like, hey, they'll put them right in order. A lot of the guys have training, a military training, which is nice. They listen, so they know they come in, have the gun this special way. They're at low ready, duck walking here and there. So it looks real. It looks nice. There's also a group that goes around. They're called the Gunmetal Group. This guy, Matt Siglock, he runs them. It's all military trained guys. They're set at a certain price. They bring their own stuff and blah, blah, this and that. They're a good option to have too in your back pocket.
When you said they bring their own stuff, what's that like then? You mean
they will bring, depending on what instead of the prop master having to rent, depending on what show it is, because we have the stuff already. We don't need them to bring their own things. I know on a show like Jericho, we needed a bunch of stuff, and Siglock and his guys brought the different body armor, the different outfits, and blah, blah, blah. And you get them essentially for a bulk rate, which it helped out the costumes. It helped out the prop guys. They just came, and they know what they're doing. They just put it on. They're like, what do you want us to stand and say? Like, stand right there. They'll stand there for 10 hours if you want. I was like, we're not getting shot at. We're getting free food. Hell yeah, I'll stand it for 10 hours,
Well, tell me more about gun safety on set. Now, before you do, on some other shows, I've had some conversations where folks talked about not needing to fire blanks as much these days. In fact, that visual
No, you
effects
don't.
can do a lot of that kind of work. Like, so how does that work on your show on SWAT?
Well, a lot of times it'll be visual effects because they want the gun right next to their person. We're like, no, it's too close. You have to be 15 feet away. We've shot full flashes once, and that was season 1, and it was a faraway shot at night, and the director knew what he wanted. He's like, look, I just want 2 shots of a gun full flash. I'm like, okay, that's no problem. And I can handle a handgun or 2, but if it starts getting like 4 or 5 guns, that's what we have an armorer for. And also if they're NFA guns or guns that the government deem semi-automatic, big machine guns, or submachine guns, things like that, I actually can't handle them technically because I don't have the permits. It's completely illegal. I can handle a couple handguns and a shotgun, which I'm fine with, but sometimes I'd rather not, especially if there's tons of props going on over here and there's some guy shooting here. Just hire an armorer, let him do it. Boom, it's done. You don't have to worry about it. It's super safe. You trust him, yeah. But I know the John Wick movie, I believe the entire first one was shot with airsoft guns. And what's great about the airsoft, you just gas them up and the slides go forward and back. And the visual effects people can put in the bullet, the muzzle flash, and also the shell ejection. And
Wow.
it's 100% safe. To show people when, I literally put my hand up to the gun and pull the trigger. It will not affect your skin at all. All the guns are airsoft until they're firing. Even the ones that aren't firing, when they're just running with their long guns, they're airsoft guns technically. They don't work. The long guns don't work as airsoft guns anymore. So essentially they're all toys. But their handguns, the 1911s, and also their smaller off-duty guns, they're all airsoft guns and they work. And the thing is too, a lot of the actors like it more because when they're firing with a quarter, we use quarter loads on our show, which is, there's full flash, half flash, and quarter flash. It's quarter flash are essentially a quarter of the powder of a real bullet. And it gives enough ba-bang, ba-bang. It's not as loud. But the actors rather not use, a lot of them now don't want to use real guns. They'd rather use airsofts because in their mindset, they're like, because they're trying to act and all of a sudden they're like, oh, wait, I can't be 15 feet. So it kind of takes away from their mental acting, I want to say. So they like the fact that they could be anywhere and it'd be super safe, even if they just accidentally fire off to the side. So I know a couple actors on our show would rather use airsoffts.
And what did you mean that the long rifles are no longer working as airsoft? Was that, explain that to me a little bit.
The long rifles, which are their primary weapons, the HK-416s or the MP5s, they don't work as airsofts anymore just because we took the components out of you'd rather not use them as airsoft guns just because they break easily. So if we're going to fire, they'll fire their primaries or long guns with the quarter flashes, and they'll give them the proper distance. And if not, then they'll just do a fake boom, essentially in their head, and jerk the gun, and then the effects will put in something.
So got it. So you guys made the decision that using the long rifles as airsoft guns wasn't efficient for all the reasons you just explained. Then.
Yeah, because it doesn't eject the shell. It doesn't, like on a handgun, you can see the slide move back and forth. You don't see any of that with the long gun. It just it doesn't make the same effect, if you want to say.
But a blank will. In other words, a blank with the safety, obviously, observations that you outlined does give that effect, more of that, at least for what they're trying to capture on camera for a weapon like that.
Oh, yeah. You get a little muzzle flash, just out of the muzzle brake, you'll see a little diamond pattern. We've had that perfectly shot. It's a nice look. There's just some things you can't really fake, especially if it's not a quick cut. Like if they're all quick cuts, you could just put, just a muzzle flash on anything. I was watching the Mayans last week, and it was just, they came in, they're firing, they're blowing people up, and it was just CG blood all over the place, like everywhere. And I'm trained to see that stuff, so I could see it, but I'm like, does Middle America see it, or people that don't know, do they see it? Maybe they might, like some guys like, oh, that's so fake, but I'm like, to me it looked really, really fake, but it was super safe.
Because they weren't even using squibs with little blood
No.
packs or anything. They were it was all digital blood, in fact,
Yeah.
on top of it.
Squibs are not used that much anymore either.
Tell me more about how that has changed.
It's just because essentially it's a little explosion on the person's skin or on a t-shirt. So it's not that super safe anymore. There's a lot of stuff that was used in the 80s and 90s that's not used at all anymore.
What other changes have you seen in that sense as far as
Air rams, like when they used to have a ramp and the guy would just fly off of it, they don't use those at all anymore. It's more about safety now than I've ever seen, because there's just so many accidents happen, especially with stunt players, man. They're just, because to be known in a stunt world to do the outrageous stuff, and plus, and as you know, some people have that mentality of pushing themselves. Oh, dude, we can do it bigger and better, this and that. But you'd be surprised how we always have safety meetings about everything, especially stunts with cars and explosions. I mean, our AD staff is very good about, and the producers are very good about safety. Because I don't know if you heard what happened last year on the LA's Finest, with one of those a stunt went wrong and a car hit a storage container and it went into Video Village, and a producer lost the bottom half of his right leg or so. Oh, it was sad.
I did hear about that. In fact, things could be risky. And on a television show, you talked about the number of days you have. There is pressure to do things faster and quicker, and yet also bigger to sort of earn that audience. But that safety's got to be primary, or else people do get hurt.
We're lucky on this show. Sony pulls the plug after 14 hours. But I mean, I've been on shows 19 hours, 20 hours, and people are just, it's almost like people are drunk because they're so tired. In those late hours, that's when people start getting hurt. It's like, and we got to drive home. It's like, come on, guys, and that's the thing people don't understand. Like when I have friends that come from feature world and they day play with us, all of a sudden they're like, man, you guys work fast. Like we have to. It's ridiculous how much they shove into one day. And then you have people like my parents are just like, it takes how long to shoot a TV show? You guys just stand there for 2 hours while you're waiting to light something? I'm like, that's how it is sometimes, And then sometimes you got to wait for actors. Sometimes you got to wait for a bridge to open, just it's stupid things. Like we only have this location for 2 hours, so it's not our fault, but everyone run as fast as they can. It's like, no, we're not doing that.
Well, you started into it, Dr. Boudin. Tell me more about what it's like working on this set.
It's actually great. This is one of the best sets I've worked on. It's a very good. Everyone's really likes each other. Everyone works hard. Everyone's professional. Everyone, people love like each other. I'm in a fantasy football league with some of the people on set. It's actually a lot of fun. I started an eliminator football pool. It gets people into it and enjoying each other. Like we go out and we'll have drinks after work sometimes, a bunch of us, or we'll meet each other during the hiatus for lunches and things. So it's really nice. But if they start getting behind, they're like, come on, let's hurry up. It's not your fault we're behind, but you need to make up the work and the time. And at that point, it gets a little more aggravating, but it's the nature of the beast. I mean, we all do what we can to help out at certain times, but there are requests that come across the block, like, like hey, you guys have an African elephant? I'm like, ooh, all I have is an Asian. I'm like, really? Can you make its ears bigger? Come on, man.
I mean, do you get a lot of that in the prop world where they're looking for something that they think is specific, but
it's called we call it going to the ass truck because you got to pull it out of your ass. It's like, come on, man. The one thing I did find one time was a Hawaiian shirt for a Shih Tzu. And it was last second. And they're like, yeah, I want to put a Hawaiian shirt on this dog. I'm like, all right, give me 5 minutes. I found it at when Babies R Us was still around. I got a little kid's Hawaiian shirt.
Now, all right, but so that wasn't on SWAT. There's not some SWAT episode with a little Shih Tzu with a Hawaiian.
We had a couple golden retrievers and German shepherds on our show. That's about it.
I want to talk about some of the other shows you've worked on, Dr. Boudin. But first, tell me some more about the other props on SWAT. When I see that someone has a gun that's not part of the regular kits, some other weapon or whoever the criminal of the week is, do you guys have a bunch of those guns on as well? Or does the script call for something and your prop master has to go get it special?
It all depends on if it's a specialty gun. We do have like an extra stash, I want to say, or cache of weapons on the truck, and we have 2 big safes on the truck, obviously. So if something needs to be firing, like, hey, we have an extra Glock, right? Yeah, let's give them that. Or we have a bunch of extra airsofts too. We use more of those than anything. And we also have tons of rubbers. Every SWAT person's long rifle, we have a rubber matching it for all these stunts. And a lot of the stunt guys, we zip tie them to their back. So when they're doing their fight, it's not swinging around hitting people in the face. And then almost every pistol we have, I think we have 2 or 3 rubbers for it. And the rubbers are harder densities. And then we have foam ones if they're really hitting people in the head. That was a thing over on CSI because there was always one murder weapon. Say it was a teapot. We'd have the teapot, and then we have a hard teapot, and then we'd have foam ones. And they all looked exactly the same. You never knew which one was which until you picked it up. You know, whatever. There was always a murder weapon. So we definitely have extra guns. There's one of the writers really, as he likes to call it gun porn. So he finds these random guns, and he always wants them. And the master will be like, look, dude, we cannot get them. We can't get them blanked. And he'll be like, okay, well, what about these? So it was always like, we had silenced semi-automatic shotguns on one episode.
Wow.
We had, we haven't had a minigun yet, which I think is interesting. We should get one of those. So there is definitely a bunch of different guns that we have to get from the prop house.
Now, you mentioned keeping safes. I imagine that's gun safes. What goes into a safe or what doesn't have to go into a safe, particularly when they all look the same?
All the real guns have to go into safes, especially the ones that the armorer has to deal with. He actually has his own safe where only him and the prop has to have the combination. So there's one safe that's just Tony's safe with that him and Paul have the combinations to. And on Paul's truck, he has his own safe that the rest of the guys have the combos to, which are the guns that we can get out. But we, like 2 episodes ago, we had a couple different shotguns that were real shotguns. So they weren't firing, but they had to be real. So even last episode, so we had those too. Those can go just in the regular safe. And the DOJ had to come down and literally look at the safe, make sure it was bolted into the ground fine on the truck, and blah blah blah. And they're like, they give it their blessing. Okay, here we write it off.
All the guns that fire blanks are real guns. Just is that to clarify?
That the only thing that's different about it is their barrels. Essentially, when you have a barrel's that big, hypothetically, and then you have like a full flash has a little stopper in it, a half flash has a smaller stopper, and then they have a quarter flash, which has the smallest stopper, and then they have the other ones called solid plug guns, which are guns that they used back in the day for suicides, where you could put it to someone's head, pull the trigger, nothing gets blown out of the barrel, and has just enough juice to cycle or powder just to cycle the slide back and forth. It's very interesting. There's a lot of engineering and machining goes in behind it, and that's what we also give it the 15-foot radius for safety, because sometimes the plugs, after a while they start deteriorating a little bit and little pieces get pushed out. And if you're too close, that ends up being shrapnel that can get into people's skin and it hurt and kill.
Yeah, I bet. But so the air guns, though, they don't need to go into the safe. They can't be modified in any kind of way, but you still have a lot of them. So it takes quite a bit of space on the truck as well. It sounds like.
We also just put them in the safe just because they're guns, and we try to keep all the guns together. Like all the guns, all the accoutrements. Like we have a bin of green gas, which is the gas you put in the airsoft guns. So we keep that kind of all together. But even if they're airsoft guns, we have enough room in the safe because they're big safes that we know where they're at, or we lock them up somewhere else. But pretty much we all know where they're at if need be.
Talk about some of the stuff that's not guns. I noticed that besides the weapons, they have all this other specialized equipment. They had flashbang grenades. They had a drill with mini cams. They had phones and binoculars and shields, just all kinds of stuff that's SWAT. Is that stuff it sounds like you probably have on the truck? It must work every other show.
Not the shields as much as you think. We don't keep the shields. That's only we do keep the shields in the gold rooms. Not on the truck, though. but yes, there are all these specialty items that the writer and the director talk to the prop master about in prep, and they make these cool little gadgets because people love gadgets. A lot of them don't exist, but we had a plasma cutter that was just like that big. It's like, well, and it had a laser on it. It looked really cool, and it got the job done, the effects. So, I mean, it looked really cool. You know, we had the drills. I mean, we have drills on the, but we had to SWATify them, so we had to paint them a little black and in gray, put a big bit on them. And actually, when you see it going through, when you saw it on the top side, that was me. I was underneath doing that. I crawled underneath. It was a set that was built about 4 feet high, and I had to crawl underneath it with all the rocks, and my knees were killing me on these rocks, and I had to go way back in the corner, and they're like, okay, now drill here. And so I did, and I put the little cameras up. So that was me.
You're subbing in. No reason to have a stunt guy do that. Huh?
Yeah. You don't have to pay a stunt guy's wage for that. Yeah, you got the peons that can do that. But yes, there's all these specialty props that do happen. We call them hero props. And then at the end of the episode, we put the hero props in an episode 302 bin, and we put them on in a special room that we all know, like, oh, that was episode 302. Let's go back to that bin.
In case you need something to use again, or reshoots or whatever might get brought up for it.
Anything, yeah. Yeah, that's how every show works. That's how every show should work. Because they played with other people and they don't do anything quite like that. I'm like, how do you get things done?
There was another episode I watched recently. There was a scene where people were throwing eggs. No, that doesn't fall in the same category as weapons as guns, but is that something that the prop department had to provide?
We had little foam eggs that they could throw and hit the guy in the head, but the effects department had this goo that they made. It actually made it look real. And if you saw the shot, you know, it was the camera guy was about 5 feet away from the dude with a different lens, made him look longer. But the effects guys were right next to camera. And as soon as they got the go ahead, they hit the little button and it shot like just a lot of compressed air. And essentially it was a small t-shirt cannon. And it just shot an egg yolk on the guy's face. So there's little cool things where if you're ever on set, you can see behind the scenes stuff. Then you see it on TV, you're like, oh, that came out pretty good, actually.
What other notable props with your time on SWAT come to mind? Things that are unusual or difficult to put together or just funny?
The flashbangs are always an interesting thing because we'll use them a ton. We got to have the biggest helicopter budget because we're always using helicopters and drones. Like the way the drones are working now, it adds a whole new element to TV shows, and it makes it look so cool. It makes it look unbelievable. We've had door spreaders, these little random props, which is nice because the technical guys will be like, oh yeah, we had this one thing one time, and they'll get together with the writers and the prop master will have to find it and be like, oh, how about this? Whoa, I remember the prop master and I think the director or the writer of one episode came up with these really cool distraction devices. Essentially, they're little balls, and you throw them in, and they emit really high-pitched screaming noises and flashes. So they cut the wires on the speakers in it, so it wouldn't annoy the sound department because it would bleed their ears. And they put it in post, but it would have flashes on it, and then in post they actually put smoke coming out of it. And another shot, the smoke guys smoked up the room. So, I mean, it's cool because you can be really creative in props, too. If you got the time and the budget, you can make anything. For the most part, only a few directors on our show get the okay to be super creative and outside the box. Other than that, it's like choose from the pile,
As far as the things you can do or you've done before or what's on the truck, I imagine.
Yeah, it's just it's the same with the camera department, too. Like every director, they get their one cool shot, and then they get their one crane shot, and then whatever budget's for. And then there are bigger directors that come in. They're like, okay, you get 3 crane shots or whatever it be.
Well, how does this show compare to other shows you've worked on from a prop perspective?
Well, this is the busiest by far. There's something to be said for being on a show where it's like 11 and a half, 12 hours and you're home, and it's just 2 people talking about a book in a coffee shop. It gets really boring. It's just you and the other prop guy or girl, and you just hang out and talk about things. It's almost like sometimes I forget about props when it's an easy scene because you just get lackadaisical. When there's so much going on, you're like, okay, I got boom, 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 boom. I got to do them all in this order. you know. But this is by far the busiest. Jericho was a very busy show. That was one of my first shows. There was a lot of gun work on that, but it was a lot more, it was a lot busier because I had to do more because other people wouldn't, kind of thing. And, then I was on the Rush Hour TV show. That was busy just because it was stunt work. Like, that was the biggest stunt show I've done to the time. And I wasn't used to it. And I'm like, wow, stunts take a long time to do. We had one time he used a cello as a weapon. So we had to make, I think they gave it a budget of like 4 cellos they could break. And they had to score them. And they're like, that's all you guys get. And we're like, okay. That was a busy show too. CSI was different busy because but that was dialed in. I mean, that show did 15 seasons. And my boss at the time did 14 of them. They knew what was going on. They knew the different lab and the different lab things to do and this and that. It's just the hours were longer on that, and they were a lot of nights. And that was like when I was on the X-Files, like every Friday night was 6 p.m. call. So people weren't getting home till 9 a.m. on Saturday. I mean, it just eats at your soul. But people are dialed in. They know exactly what's going on. The hero cast have their own props. They know what to do and this and that, and everyone just gets it done, essentially.
On CSI, I imagine that a lot of that equipment that they're using in the lab and such, props or set dressing, taking a bigger handle of that stuff. I mean, the stuff they're interacting with, does that come from the prop master, have to be responsible for that, or set dressing?
All that lab stuff was sent to the set dressing crew by those companies. So if it was supposed to be used in a certain way, they'd have a tech come out standing next to it. Because they didn't want their stuff misrepresented. But most of the time when they're mixing fluids and this and that and doing things with needles and pliers and things like that, yeah, those were all props. I mean, we had just shelves full of beakers and this and blah, blah, blah. I mean, even in the garage, they had a Snap-on toolbox that I have a buddy who's a Snap-on dealer, and I sent him a picture of it, and he's like, dude, that thing's expensive. So I don't know where that ended up, someone's house, but I would have loved to have it. But it was a huge box. It took up it was a 12-foot long box. So that thing was nice. So, but if you're a hit show, people want their stuff on the show, they'll give it to you.
Is that a factor on the props on SWAT? Do you guys get things that are placement of some sort?
We don't have a lot of product placement. All their glasses, the Wiley X Corporation, once they saw how much we were using their stuff, they were like, cool, you guys get carte blanche. How much do you, which is nice because most of all the glasses are AR coated. So we have to get them ahead of time and sent out to a lab to get them AR coated, which is anti-reflecting. It's not 100%, but it's way better than regular glasses.
So they don't catch something off a camera looking at them, or there's some kind of reflection on it.
The camera can be in a certain direction and not be seen, which is nice. So Wiley X gives us glasses, and they're really cool about it. We don't have many other sponsors that give us. I know we get a lot of Dodge cars and trucks, but that's with the transpo department, not us. Other than the Wiley X stuff, glasses, I don't think we have, which is a shame. I'd love to get like the corporation that has the vest is First Spear. I'd love to get some more of those, or some nice tack bag, a bunch of more bags and stuff. And 511's a great company. Hey guys, come on, throw some stuff our way. It's weird because a lot of companies don't give out stuff anymore. Like Apple wouldn't give us phones. Apple, they wouldn't give us iPads. It's weird how the product placement company, they don't do it as much anymore.
Just in general, you think it's less of that, or is it something about the actual theme of the show, or somehow they're being more selective? How do you think it plays out?
If you're not a top 10 show or top 20 show, I don't think they want to give you as much anymore. It used to be different 15 years ago. Any show would get anything they wanted. But now you got to be a top 10 show to get anything. When CSI was, when they were the first 5 seasons, when it was a top 5 show, they're like, yeah, what do you guys need? Take it. Have it all. Be the first person with an iPhone or something like that. Yeah, it's interesting that their budgets, their advertising budgets have all shrank a lot too. So,
what have we not covered on, or what has this got your gears going on that we should talk about?
This show's pretty much about guns and cool little prop things. It's a busy show, man. And of course they shoot Santa Clarita, which is on the other side of the world from me because I live down near the airport. So, it's a 45-minute minimum drive. Sometimes it's been an hour and 45 minutes, and it's just, 6-hour turnarounds essentially. So, it's not fun.
So you have a 14-hour day, which is actually a short day, but you still have an hour at least to get there, if not two, and home as well.
Yeah, that's not without prep too. In the morning, like our prep time, and then I get there even before our call, just because it's so busy. You need to have, it weighs on you. So
it sounds like a hard, but I don't know, from a prop perspective, an enjoyable show. It sounds like there's a lot of stuff going on, and as you mentioned, keeps you engaged.
Yeah, in our prop department, we like this stuff too. Like we're gun guys. We like things of this nature because there's a lot of prop crews out there that couldn't do our show. They just don't. They can't do it. It's just one of those things. And luckily, it stems from our master, Paul, who's great at his job and has all the props there and more when they're supposed to be. So it's a pleasure to work for someone like that, because I've worked with other prop masters. Say there's five props in the scene. I'm lucky to get 3 of them, and it's like I got to come up with something off the set or off something else. So it's and we have a good system, and it's in place, and it's the best way to work for us. But that first season was very tough, though.
How have things changed over the seasons?
Different styles of propping, different systems. We inherited a system at first from the pilot people, and we just thought it was the way to go, and it worked enough for us, but it wasn't the best system. So we all changed that, and it's been smoother. Thank God, because it's nice too. Because when day players come in, I'm like, okay, this is how it is. We have these 2 tables out. We have these little cards. We put out their names, with little Velcro tags on each piece. Then this goes out because they're using S.W.A.T casual look. They're using this look. It's actually nice on this show too, because the writers and producers will go through each episode and break it down by scene and do a costume document. So the costume department, and we know that they're in full tack on this scene. Then they're in S.W.A.T casual this scene. Then they're in civvies in this scene, which is nice. So we look at it so we can all prep. I'll get that done while the guy on set is doing one scene. The next scene, I'll have all the stuff for the actors on the next one. So that makes it run smooth too.
And I'm sure the actors appreciate that. That's the last thing they want to be thinking about, what exactly they're supposed to have.
Yeah, they do. They just walk in. They know to find our table, our little mini mule cart, and they know that it's nice. It's a nice beacon for the actors. Like, they know to come here. And we're talking with the PAs too, like, hey, we're over here. So the PAs know to bring them over to us to get propped and wired. Because at first it was a 20-minute thing for each actor to get them propped. And the producer's like, this is ridiculous. I'm like, well, this is the way to do it. So once the costume doc came out and we figured out how to prop them, we got it down. I could do it for like 2 minutes each actor. I think it helps out everyone in the long run. And
so, Dr. Booty, what's the origin of your nickname?
That might be for another podcast.
Okay, we'll save that for now. But thanks for coming on and talking about S.W.A.T and all the work you guys are doing there. That's been a lot of fun.
Oh, great, no problem. You're very welcome.
Listeners, I'd love to hear what you thought of the episode. You can send an email to skid, S-K-I-D, at belowtheline.oneword.biz. That's B-I-Z. I also appreciate your feedback via iTunes, where your ratings and comments really do help us reach new listeners. And Facebook, where for your visual entertainment, I post photos and other behind-the-scenes materials at Podcast Below the Line. Finally, you can follow the podcast on Twitter and Instagram. It's at Pod Below the Line. Thanks to Curtis Five for our music and John Wan for our logo. The logo is available on t-shirts, mugs, and stickers at redbubble.com. Thanks for listening. Our series on the prop department continues next week. We're continuing our series of episodes focused on the property department, and my guest today is Erik Kieltyka.
Nope. Kieltyka.
Say it again.
Kieltyka.
Yeah, okay.
That's all right. Leave it in there. I think it's funny.
Let me try that paragraph again.